In previous videos this year, I talked about how my family was really wanting to move to Texas and how we were planning to move before the end of the year, but plans have changed, and today I'm going to sit down and talk about why we're not moving. If you're new here, hey, I'm Marissa, and I make videos all about budgeting and how you can enjoy life and accomplish financial goals through the use of a budget. And finances is a really big reason of why we're deciding not to move to Texas right now. I'll add timestamps to this video so you can skip to the part that you want to hear. Like if you just are here for the financial part, then you can watch that. But I'll also share some personal reasons too of why we are planning not to move at the moment. So first, I think we should just talk about the money part of it, because that is honestly the biggest reason of why we are not moving this year, and we don't know when we'll be moving anytime in the near future. At the beginning of 2022, interest rates were still super low, and it was really enticing to think of moving to a different state, especially for us being Texas. We went and visited in September, and we just really enjoyed the state, enjoyed the people, the culture, and it's also very tempting when you see how much house we could afford in Texas versus where we currently live right now in Portland, Oregon. Right now we live in a 4-bed, 3-bath house in the Portland, Oregon area, but it's a little bit tight. It's like less than 1,900 square feet. And to think of moving up to the next size in house eventually for our family, like we'd love to have like a 4-bedroom with an office and a bonus room, and that is very expensive here in this area. But in Texas, we could like sell our house here in Oregon and get our like Texas mansion like house that we've dreamed of in Texas for like almost the same cost, or maybe just a tiny little bit more. And that has been very intriguing. And especially with low interest rates, it seemed super doable, and it would basically like be a wash. The other great thing about Texas is they have no state income tax. And here in Oregon, we do have state income tax, and it's one of the highest. And so to think of how much money we could save by moving to Texas and not paying state income tax was also very enticing as well. But as you have probably seen, the Fed keeps raising interest rates, and the reason of why they're doing this is to be able to help curb inflation. And so when they're raising interest rates, it makes people less interested to go out and get a mortgage or purchase other things because it's more expensive to take on debt. And the rate at which they're increasing these interest rates is pretty extreme. So here I am filming this video in October, and interest rates right now are around like 7%, whereas earlier this year they were lower than 3%. And I'll do a little breakdown so you can see just how much that impacts your mortgage payment. I know that 3 to 7 doesn't seem that big, but it makes a huge difference when it comes to your monthly payment, which is what most people are going off of when they're determining whether or not they can afford a house. They're looking more at that monthly payment rather than just the sticker price of the house. So let's look at a couple different scenarios here. I just used a mortgage payment calculator here in Google. You can just type mortgage payment calculator into Google and find the same thing that you can compare. So this is just a little example, but here if you bought a home for $600,000 and you put $150,000 down on a 30-year fixed rate at 3.25% interest, which is actually what we have on our current house right now, then the loan amount would be $1,958. But use the same scenario, and instead of 3.25%, now up to 7%, just the loan amount, which is principal and interest, is now $2,994. So that's an extra $1,000 a month just because interest rates have gone up from 3.25 up to 7%. Here it also shows the total monthly payment, which includes taxes and fees and things like that. But just looking at that loan amount for the principal and interest, it is significantly more when you're going from 3.25% up to 7%. The other factor that plays into the financial part of things is still how high values are for homes. Now, we bought our house in 2019 here in Portland, Oregon. We paid $420,000 for our home. Now, according to Zillow, 3 years later, it's up to $575,000. And I know that the rest of the country is also seeing huge appreciation in home values as well. So when you take the high value of homes right now and high interest rates, it feels very difficult to get into a home. which is what the Fed is trying to do with raising interest rates, trying to slow down the market and make it less appealing for people to move and buy a new home. So they got me. I also just want to say that for those who are trying to purchase their house for the very first time, this is even more difficult. So if you're in that situation, I totally feel for you and understand how difficult and frustrating this may feel. Since we already have a home, we have built up equity that we can then roll over into our next home purchase, but first-time home buyers don't have that. So right now with our current home in Portland, Oregon, we have a 3.25% interest rate, which is low. And people even got much lower interest rates than we did. But 3.25% still really great, still really low. So our monthly payment for our mortgage with just principal and interest is less than $1,700 a month. Now, what I showed you earlier is thinking of moving to Texas and having an interest rate of 7% and buying a house that we'd want would be around the $600,000 range. And that payment loan amount would be about $3,000 a month compared to the $1,700 we're currently paying. I know that eventually we will move up in home and we will end up paying more, but I just don't want us to be stretched too thin and be house poor in that way. I like to follow more of the rule of thumb of spending 25% of gross income on your mortgage payment, which includes principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA, all of those things. And so I don't want to bite off more than we can chew. There's definitely the possibility of refinancing later, but I don't know when interest rates would go back down for us to be able to refinance. And for me, that just feels a little bit too risky. It's hard to think of giving up our interest rate at 3.25% and moving to 7% when this isn't something that we absolutely need to do right now. The other financial thing that is weighing in on this decision is just the financial uncertainty of this time that we're in. I know there's a lot of debate as to whether or not we're technically in the definition of a recession, but I think you can all feel that we're in a recession. With the stock market being down into bear market territory and also this crazy inflation that we've experienced, there's just a lot of economic uncertainty right now. And the Fed is raising rates to help cool down inflation, but they've also told us that we could experience some pain on the consumer and business side of things to be able to get there. And during a time of financial instability, I don't want to take a big leap by moving out of state, taking on a more expensive mortgage payment, like doing these kinds of big things for our finances. For us right now with the economic uncertainties, I feel like now would just be a better time for us to sit and wait and just see how things play out. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen in the future for the economy, but I want to have security for me and my family, and that's why we feel like this is going to be our best option right now. And it's funny when you turn and look at it this way, because a year ago I was desperate to move out of Oregon, and now I'm just grateful that we have a home, we have a house that fits our family right now, and we don't need to go anywhere. So before I talk about the other reasons of why we are planning to no longer move, I first want to talk about the reasons of why we kind of wanted to really fast. But like I mentioned earlier, Texas has no state income tax, so that was going to be huge. We really like the culture of Texas, the people there. We were really wanting warmer weather here in Portland, Oregon. It's rainy and gray for like 9 months of the year, 8 to 9 months of the year, and I just do not love it. My husband and I are born and raised here. We have our family here, and this is all we've ever known. But we have just not been loving Oregon, and we live in Portland area. We do not go into Portland, have no desire to, and just I don't feel like we're taking advantage of the things here, and it's more expensive to live here. So we've thought, why don't we just move to somewhere that we would enjoy more? We'd love to have something that's more family friendly, which we really liked about Texas. Someplace that was more affordable, like Texas. And the reason of why we would be able to just pick up and move is because my husband works remote. I stay at home, and I also have my business here on YouTube. So I am also fully remote. So we're not tied to any specific location. So we could just pick up and move if we wanted to. So that is what really motivated us to want to move and what we were planning to do. But then I was pregnant with our second son, Jack, and everything just kind of went on pause. And we thought, okay, we'll move at the end of the year because my son Jack was born in June. And so we thought we'll get through pregnancy stuff and have him, and then we'll look at moving towards the end of the year so it's not so crazy. Obviously, then interest rates and all these financial things have made it less appealing for us to want to take a jump and move right now, as I shared earlier. But the other things that play into that are being closer to family is really nice, and I would hate to move away from family, especially as we have 2 little kids. I got to grow up near my grandparents, and I see so much value in that, and I want that for my kids as well. And we're just really grateful to be near family. Now, that is the main thing that's keeping us here. That's basically the only thing that's keeping us here, but that's a really big factor. I also was really desperate to move in the fall and winter months here in the Pacific Northwest when, like I said, I hate the rain and the cold and the gloom. And when it's like that for months and months and months and months on end, I am like desperate to get out. Now, Oregon summers are the best thing you could ever experience. It's like, 85 each day. It's not humid. It's beautiful here. Like, the Oregon summers cannot be beat. Cannot be beat. So amazing. And so here I am in October, coming off of my high of Oregon summer, which was just amazing. And so I feel less desperate to move right now because I just had an amazing summer, blue skies, sunny, just wonderful. But talk to me again in January and I'm sure I will be desperate to want to move again. But with all of those factors, we've realized that we don't need to move at the moment, and mostly for those financial reasons. We don't want to take a huge leap on our finances with a higher interest rate, with housing prices being so high, when we don't need to. We don't need to move right now as much as we may want to. So what are our plans going forward? First off, like I said, we're planning to stay here in our home during this time of uncertainty and just wait it out and see how things go. I know that in different parts of the country, housing prices have started to fall, and ours have too. Our house just a few months ago was up to like over $620 on Zillow, and it's now down to $575. So we're definitely seeing our house value go down. Let me know if values are going down in your area as well, but I'll be very interested to see how this hike in interest rates will therefore impact housing prices. At the end of the day, if you're getting a loan for your house, housing affordability is more based off of that monthly payment than it is the cost of the house or interest rate. It's the combo of both that makes sense for that payment that fits into your budget. And so when that feels like it makes more sense for us in our budget, then we'll be ready to move. Do I want to pay 7 or 8% interest on a loan? No, but maybe at some point, if we outgrow this house in however much time, we just may need to do that. But I would still want to make sure that that monthly payment fit within our budget. I'm really grateful that we do have a 4-bedroom house, and that when we bought this house, we were actually looking for a 3-bedroom. Then we found this one that was a 4, and we were like, okay, great. Not knowing that when we bought in 2019, that soon we would be fully remote at home all the time, and how much better this 4-bedroom is for our household of having an additional room that's an office space. So right now we are utilizing all of our rooms in our house between both of our sons, our office, and our master bedroom. And so things are feeling a little bit tight here, and I feel even weird saying that because we have a 4-bedroom house, but it's like I said, it's a tight 4-bedroom. But I would love to be able to get a new house for our family later on. We are not sure if we're done having kids yet, and if we do have another one, I think we'll definitely need to find a new space. Obviously my boys can share a room, at some point, but we would love to have additional space for everyone. So I don't think that this is going to be our forever home. We are planning to move eventually, but we don't absolutely need to move right now. So we're just gonna stay put. But other things that we're going to be doing in the meantime is still saving and investing. We're still working on investing between 15 to 20% of our income. And we're also working on saving and building up our emergency fund. Especially during this time of financial uncertainty, we want to make sure that we're covered. And so we're working on building up our emergency fund a bit more and increasing that more because we now have 2 children. And also inflation makes things more expensive. So we want to be covered. So like I said earlier, our mindset has just kind of shifted from desperately wanting to get out, which we do still, but to now, during this time of uncertainty, just being really grateful that we bought when we did, that we have a house, we have a 3% interest rate, and we can be here for more years if we need to. We're not absolutely needing to get out. So for right now, we're just gonna stay put, see how it goes, and hopefully in a couple years we can make that move, whether that's out of state or maybe we end up here in Oregon still. I'm not sure. But the Fed definitely got us, and by raising interest rates, it makes it a whole lot less appealing to want to move right now. So let me know what you think. Are you trying to move right now, or how does interest rates and housing prices impact your decision to make a move as well? And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.
About to leave.